Right, here we go again. I'm your host, Frankie Parsons, bringing you the very best recommendations in PC games for the single player, where I give you a top 20 of a chosen genre. Today's genre are card games of the deck building roguelike variety. Let's open the curtains and take a look at the 48 genres which we are tackling on this glorious journey of ours. And what we're going to do is we're going to take away all of the genres which we've looked at so far, and of course focus on today's genre, not to be confused with the collectible card game or the trading card games, which tend to be free to play, where you're either forking up a little bit of cash to pay for the deck, the packs and the cards, etc., or which require a huge investment of time in order to collect in-game currency to then purchase the packs that way, the cards that way. Deck building roguelikes, on the other hand, do not have any microtransactions. You collect your cards as you go through the game. Various runs unlock certain cards, or certain upgrades allow you to purchase certain cards, and it's all done in very interesting, kind of engrossing, captivating ways, and very much in addictive ways. Let's have a look at the top 20. So to those new to the channel, what we do is we place down 4 medals. 4 games get a bronze, 4 games get silver, 4 games get gold, 4 games get platinum, and we have 4 honourable mentions. Let's bring those in right now. And I have to say that as a genre very much in its infancy, half of these games will either be early access or not even available. In fact, Deepest Chamber and Roguebook are still games that you cannot buy yet, but look so good that I've included them in this section. Nowhere Prophet and Tainted Grail are available, but they're early access and they're games that I've not yet tried, so hence the reason why they're not in the main grid. Bronze. Now there is a game that's out, you may have heard of it. It's called Slay the Spire. It is genre defining, and a lot of games that have come out since then in the last 2 or 3 years, we call them Spire-likes. And in the bronze section I would say Deep Sky Derelicts and Pirates Outlaws are certainly very strong Spire-likes, with Dungeon Top and Fate Hunters being kind of variations of that theme. Let's go to silver. Again, quality games these, really good standard. I'd say even a step up in quality from the bronze, a definite step up in quality that is. Arcanium and Vault of the Void very similar in that your enemies are lined along the top and your minions are along the bottom half, and then you have battles that way. Deck of Ashes is a definite Spire-like. Banners of Ruin is also Spire-like, but with Banners of Ruin you get a small army to attack your foes, and there's also kind of a lane mechanic in that one. Let's go to gold. Highly recommended, Knock on the Coffin Lid, a fantastic art style, very well done, beautifully done in fact, with a really good progress system. Neo vs Slay the Spire with scantily clad young ladies. Night of the Full Moon is a very fast-paced game, again similar to Vault of the Void Arcanium, where your enemy's on the top and you attack with your minions in the bottom half. SteamWorld Quest, of course, makers of SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld Dig, they've got an excellent track record, again highly recommended. Let's go to Platinum. Griftlands, made by the Clay Company, they have a fantastic track record. Their game is still early access, but coming along really nicely. That's going to be really good once that's finished. Similar thing to Gordian Quest, although with Gordian Quest I kind of lost my way a little bit. It's kind of overcomplicated. They've got a lot of polishing to do on that, but again very promising. I was thinking of switching that with Knock on the Coffin Lid, but it's held its own. It's platinum. And the last two are the Man United and Man Cities, or the Liverpools and the Man Uniteds of this world. That is Monster Train, which is today's game of course, and the reason why all these games exist in the first place, Slay the Spire, okay, the granddaddy of them all. But today's game is Monster Train. Let's take a look. Right, as always we're going to start with the title page. Not a big fan of links to social media, not a big fan of links to DLC, but I guess they've got to try and make their money somehow. That's pretty much the only negative of the whole game. Let's look at the pathways. We've got a nice bunch of settings here, with all those available options. We got a run history. Again, always great to see a run history in a deck building roguelike. That gives you all your history of how you've fared in all of your battles. As you can see, I've beaten the game 5 times here, but as the list does go on as well, this tells you how far you've got and what factions you've used while doing so. Let's go back. Every link is accompanied by a satisfying clunk. I always like that about menus as well. You've got a really good logbook here, which gives you lots of details in tabs here. You can have a look at all the factions that you've been victorious in, all the cards that you collected for each faction, and all of the champions here. There's Covenants, which I'll get to shortly. All of the cards that you've got. I won't go into this. This is a huge feature. Then also you can filter it by clan, by unit type, rarity, cost, etc, etc. There's all the champions that you've upgraded, which stages you've upgraded them to. Again, we'll kind of that becomes clear as you play. Here's the artifacts, just like Slay the Spire in that regard, and all the different clans that you've got artifacts for. You have fancy cosmetics, and you also have a stat leaderboard and personal records. Stat leaderboard, they could have made this a little bit more colourful. You got each faction and how well what score you got in each one, all your wins for each faction, and your win streak. So loads of things to kind of explore there. And you have challenges. It's got a multiplayer portion of the game. You can play a daily challenge, and you have community challenges, community-based content there. So going back, we're going to start with a standard run, and we're going to click start. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a match. Now, first of all, there are 6 clans altogether. These are like races or factions. You get 2 straight away when you very first start the game. There's the Hellhound and the Awoken. You also get others unlocked as you play the game. With each faction, or with each clan rather, you get 2 champions which specialise in a certain strategy. For example, this one throws rocks at the enemy, and this champion, with a tremendous roar, uses a kind of imp strategy, which is what we're going to do, because I tend to do a lot better with this champion. And we're also going to ally them with the Awoken faction, and we're going to use this champion here. I could use a different one, but we're going to go with this one here. So that's the factions set up. That's the game set up with the clans. You also have covenants. Now, if I was to go back to 1, the game starts you off with 0 covenant. When you defeat the game on 0 covenant, you then go up to rank 1. Now, rank 1 sets slightly more difficult parameters. You then try and defeat it at Covenant 1, and that sets you up to rank 2, and then you go right up to, I think it goes up to 25. So basically it's like an interesting added progression system which you can use. I only got to rank 1. You also can add mutators, which adds further customization to the game. Loads of different things that you can set up here to fine-tune your experience, but we're not going to do that. We're going to jump straight into a game, so let's depart. Okay, just a couple of things to state before we get going. First of all, I do not consider this to be a Spire clone. Yes, of course, it's inspired by Slay the Spire. It wouldn't have existed without Slay the Spire, but unlike things like, or games like Pirates Outlaws, Deck of Ashes, Neoverse, there are Spire clones that do take those features directly. There's too many innovations here. There's too many different mechanics, really, for this to be considered a simple Spire clone. So there's that. The other thing is that some people say it's like a tower defense game. It is nothing like tower defense. The only similarity there is that enemies are attacking your base, but otherwise no, please do not compare this to tower defense. Now, the real beauty of this game really unravels itself as you play, but I will very quickly go through some of the UI features. Top left, you have your hit points of your base. The coin is the in-game currency. Underneath that, you have your deck. If I was to click on that, it shows you your starting deck. These are the very basic cards in which you start with. You of course build on that, improve them, upgrade them, add more cards as you play. Over on the other side, we've got the 2 factions, the icon of the 2 factions. Here you've got the level. This goes up to 9. The idea is to get to level 9 and defeat the final boss. This tells you a little bit about your final boss. This adjusts the speed of the game. That can I think that goes to fast, ultra, super ultra. I like normal. This is your map. Clicking on that shows you your path, and you can scroll down to the level 9. And you also have some options as well you can fiddle around with. First off, you have to make a choice. You choose an artifact. Okay, seeing as we have the Awoken as the secondary clan who specialise a lot in healing abilities, I'm going to go with the Sap Tap, which gives us an extra card when we heal. That goes there. And also we can upgrade our champion. And I'm going to explain a little bit about all this text as we get into the main game, but in the meantime I think we're going to go with the Imp Parade. Okay, that's that done, and then we can jump in. So as you can see, the train travels down to the next level. Right, before each battle you're shown the enemy minions that you have to face. If you hover over these, it gives you details about them. Again, I'll explain all these keywords and what they all mean as we go in. You're also given the option to make the game a little bit harder, which we will do, because if we win this, and which we should do because it's the first battle, you'll get given a reward. And there is a reminder of that extra difficulty. Now, as I said before, the ultimate aim here is to win 9 battles or 9 rounds, but in order to do that you have to prevent your enemies from reaching the top of your train. Now, they always enter the first floor. There they are, 2 enemies on the first floor, and what they're going to do is they're going to battle against creatures or monsters that you're going to place to defend your pyre. Now, your pyre is at the top, 1, 2, 3, at the very top. That is your pyre, that is your heart, that is your base, which the enemies are going to try to attack. Now, everything has a tooltip. If I hover over it, it gives you more detail about it. Let's go back down to the first floor. And we have extra additions to the UI here. We have your energy here. I'll hover over that. That shows you have 3 energy. So if you look at your cards, you'll see in the top left corner that each of these cost a certain amount of energy. So you spend those as you add your cards to the playing field. Here is your draw pile. If you click that, it shows all of the cards you've got left in your deck. Okay, there's 5, of course, that we've been dealt. This is your discard pile, so all the deck's cards that you use then go into the discard pile, and when you end your turn, you will click End Turn. Now, of course, with most deck building roguelikes, what you do is you take a card from your hand and you drag it onto your enemy and they do a little battle. But of course, with Monster Train being so different, what you do is you, with your monsters anyway, is you drag them onto the floor here and place them. Now, each of your monsters or your units have 2 little yellow dots at the top, and that tells you how much space they can take up on that floor. So with a champion, and most of the time, you know, champion on the first floor tends to be the kind of main formula. We're going to do that, so let's release, and there you see she's taken up 2 slots here and she has placed herself onto the first floor. Now, she doesn't cost any energy, but these guys, these train stewards, as you can see on the top left, take up 1 energy. So when I place this one, I'm going to place him in front, and you saw the energy go down too. So just like most deck building roguelikes, you know, it takes energy. Now we cannot place our train steward on the first floor, so we'll go up and we'll simply place him onto that floor. Okay, going back down, this imp costs nothing when it's placed on the same row as the champion. So what we'll do is we're going to place that in this imp in the front line here. Now, every unit has a different type of ability. It can do an attack, some of them can give health, some can give armor. There's all sorts of different abilities they have. Now, of course, to know this, you have to hover over a card and read the text. Now, in this case, when you summon this imp, it's going to deal 10 damage to the front enemy unit. So here's the front enemy unit. He has 20 health and 10 armor, but when you place this here, you saw straight away that he lost 10 health, and that has disappeared. Additionally, like other roguelike games, it tells you what your enemies are going to do. This guy has 3 attack here, has 20 health, and this shows the consequence of what will happen when I end the turn. So this guy is going to die, and this one is going to survive. Similarly, these guys have an attack, so my champion has 20 attack, 15 health, my train steward has 5 attack, 8 health, etc, etc. So when I end turn, what will happen is they will do battle. Now, before I mentioned that the game is nothing like tower defense, but if there is a genre that I could compare this to or to draw similarities from, I think it would actually be the Auto Battler, and it reminds me a lot of Hearthstone Battlegrounds in that when you click the end button, the end turn button, it goes through a series of sequences. Quite simply, the enemy's front unit attacks first, followed by the enemy's second unit, and then after they've played out their attacks, your front unit does hit its attack, followed by your next unit and your next unit, and then it ends, it stops, and if these guys survive, they will then trundle up to the next floor. So let's see them play out their attacks. And there you have it. So what happened there was this guy trundled up to the next floor. The next set of enemies entered the battleground, including a loot fairy and your next 2 enemies, and I was given 5 more cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my imp, which costs nothing, onto this bit here, and that does 10 damage to him. I'm going to place my train steward at the top to get rid of this loot fairy, who is going to give me 50 gold. I'm going to place a train steward to beef up my defences, and I'm going to place another imp here to take 10 hit points off this guy here, and there it is. And that means actually that he's going to die this round because of that. Let's end turn and see everything play out, starting from the top floor. He goes. He goes. And there you have it. And practically the only thing I can do here with these cards is to just place an imp at the front here. Restore him. As you can see his hit points here, I can heal him up. And that's pretty much all I can do, because I cannot place an imp here because, as you can see, the yellow dots are all taken up. So just do that, end turn. Okay, and as you saw there, he survived that round, and he's at the top here, but he is going to die, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to go down to the bottom, and because he's the boss, as soon as you defeat him, the round will end. The boss always has a Relentless, by the way. That's what happens with Relentless. I'll explain the keywords in the next round. Let's just end this. Down. There. And that's the end, and of course they play to the death there when the boss arrives on the scene. It goes Relentless. Either you die or your boss dies. They keep battling until that happens. Then we get some rewards, so we can collect these. So 50 gold, you get a choice. So this is where the deck building comes in. You get to choose more improved cards. Let's go with, doesn't really matter because we're just demonstrating. Let's go with damage twice. Here, because I'm allied with the Awoken, it's given me some choice here of some spells to play. I think I'm going to go with Sting. And you're also given an extra unit here. I'm going to go with the Demon. So there you see. So as you can see, some subtle changes here. We've gone up to level 2, gone on to the next stage, or ring 2. We've also now got 18 cards. We added those to our deck. And there are 2 paths we can take. Now this is always beneficial, this is always going to be helpful. We can either boost our units and add an Awoken unit, or we can boost our spells and add a Hellhorned unit. So let's improve. So this is always a shop. There's 150 gold I can spend. This is pretty good actually, because I'm going to upgrade one of my units with a +10 attack. And I think this fella could certainly use an extra 10 attack. So we click on him, and then we upgrade it here, and this is reminding you what it does. So that's going to improve him. It's showing you in green how it's upgraded from 10 to 20. So we'll upgrade that. So he's more powerful. We're also going to upgrade a unit with a 10 attack and 20 health. That's only going to cost 20 gold. That's a bargain. You definitely want to do this every time. So let's even make this one even a little bit more uber. So again, once you click on it, it tells you what will change, what stats will change. So we'll upgrade him. So we've got this really nice unit. We could upgrade a unit with Quick. Now Quick, again, hovering over it gives you the keywords. I don't know whether to do this or not. Let's just have a look. Yeah, not worth it with those units. So we'll close that, leave that, and choose one more unit, and then we get back into the second battle, as it were. And I like the look of this one, so there he goes, he's added to our deck, and we go to the next battle. And once again giving us a little bit of information about forthcoming enemies. Now guys, because this is a quick guide, I'm not obviously going to show the whole round here, but there are a few points I missed out earlier that I do want to explain, and that is to do with keywords. Now in the short time of this video, of course, we've missed out loads and loads. This is a very deep game. We've only scratched a minuscule amount of the surface. What you do need to do, though, as you play the game is hover over these characters. If you're not sure of a word, you have the keywords. Just in anything else, these bold words here, strike, melee weakness, queen's impling, always hover over it and always read the information. And once you've done that, you'll become a lot more conversant, you'll be a little more knowledgeable, you'll be more comfortable. There are loads of eureka moments early on. There's always new doors being opening, always new things that you see in this game. It's absolutely, it really is an incredible game. I think the people who developed this are geniuses. It's amazing. That's the video for today, and I'll see you in the next one.